Stories have always been human. This time, they are being written with something else. Each story you hear is conjured by artificial intelligence, carefully shaped and guided by human hands. Here's where you come in. The story isn't fixed. Your comments, whispers, and ideas can alter what's to come. You speak, and the story listens. This is no careless experiment. It's an intentional descent where man and machine work together to bring you fiction that feels all too real. So dim the lights, lock the doors, lean closer to the static. And remember, the words come from the machine, but the nightmares, they come from you. This is KillerPrompt. If you didn't hear the previous chapters, turn back. Start from the beginning before you buckle in.
Chapter 5, Orientation. It had been 3 days. 3 days since Evan had last driven through the gate and felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. 3 days since Marla stood in that underground corridor, hands in her jacket pockets, and told him to think about it. No pressure, no countdown. Just a simple truth delivered without ceremony. You can walk away. He had spent the time doing everything he normally did when he didn't want to think. Cleaning the car until it smelled faintly of citrus and leather, reorganizing his trunk, driving aimlessly without going online, watching the city slide past while the app sat dormant on his phone. The silence had been worse than the questions. Tonight, he sat in the driver's seat with the engine off, phone face down in the cup holder. The street was quiet, residential, unremarkable. He hadn't gone online. He hadn't even opened the app. The back door opened without warning. Marla slid in like she'd been expected.
So,
she said, shutting the door and settling back into the seat.
What do you think about the job?
Evan exhaled through his nose. He didn't look at her right away. He watched a porch light flicker across the street, then off again. He nodded. Yeah, it's a yes. She leaned back, satisfied.
Good. Then we're starting with orientation.
She directed him across town, not toward the highway, not toward anything hidden or remote, but straight through the city. Traffic lights, bus lanes, a stretch of road Evan knew well enough to name every pothole. They pulled into an old junkyard, wedged between a tire shop and a shuttered auto body place. No gate, no secrecy. Just rows and rows of crushed vehicles stacked like discarded thoughts, license plates removed, windshields shattered into glittering piles. Evan cut the engine and stared out the window. A junkyard? She gestured with her chin toward the rows of cars.
Drivers who accept the job and then decide they don't like the rules end up here. Eventually. Not all at once, but inevitably.
I thought I was allowed to leave. Evan's eyes settled on the cars around him.
You are, but there are certain terms on how to get out without ending up here.
Marla tapped her finger on the glass. Evan swallowed. Why show me this now?
Because it's part of orientation,
she said simply.
You should know where you might end up.
A junkyard crane was moving slowly across the sky, finding the perfect place to drop the next car. Victim? He suddenly felt exposed. Sliding down farther into his seat, he tucked his face into his jacket. Marla nodded.
Sometimes you have to stay hidden in plain sight to remain hidden.
Evan smiled behind his jacket and clipped his lip on the zipper. Do you have a book of quotes in that apartment of yours? 'Cause you're a real nerd. Marla herself smiled.
Hold the phone. Am I crazy, or is that actually a shadow of a personality finally coming out of you?
Her phone buzzed. She checked it once, then slid it back into her pocket.
Our next stop is ready,
she said.
Your place.
She leaned forward and tapped his shoulder. Both her words and her touch surprised him. They drove in silence until they reached his apartment. Inside, waiting neatly on his kitchen table, there were 3 pieces of upscale luggage, black, hard-sided, expensive enough that he wouldn't have bought them even on a good month. Marla circled them, unimpressed.
Just once, I'd love to open the door and there be Chinese food next to these cases.
She muttered.
How many times do I have to tell them that?
Inside the first case, each item was laid in their own perfect compartment. Multiple licenses, passports, social security cards, all bearing his face, his name, variations so clean that made his real ID feel counterfeit by comparison.
They start preparing the moment someone's flagged.
She said, matter-of-factly.
Before you said yes, this already existed.
She moved to the second case, leaving the first one open. The second case held equipment. A bulletproof vest molded to his size that she pulled off the top. Underneath, a first aid and trauma kit packed with unnerving precision. Is that an IV? Evan looked over her shoulder further into the bag. A firearm, clean and legal, with permits already filed, spare magazines, gloves, and not the plastic kind, thick and luscious gray leather with tan forks. He immediately took them and stuck them into his pockets.
The drop offers bonuses.
Marla explained as she lifted items out one by one.
Drivers who take first aid courses, advanced driving, defensive maneuvering. This is about building confidence. You're more useful if you don't panic.
The final case was administrative. New car insurance, toll stickers he'd never been able to afford, airport access credentials, 2 emergency burner phones if things really went south.
Also,
she pointed to the thick white envelope.
Your new bank account and debit card.
I thought I was getting tips.
Evan.
Marla smacked her forehead.
You think you're doing all this just for tips? No. You'll also get a commission per client.
Oh, is it weird for me to ask how much? Now that he thought about it, Reed probably couldn't put his nephew through a pricey private school on a few good tips.
Depending on the client, upwards of 6 figures.
She slammed the cases shut and locked them.
Our job,
she continued, helping him carry the cases to the car,
is to make your driving seamless. If you ever get pulled over and no one's with you, act like your last passenger forgot something, obey traffic laws, blend in.
Her phone started to chirp.
Let's get going. We have a client waiting.
Evan opened her door, then jumped into the front seat. Do we ever know what they did?
No.
Marla said.
That part's kept out. Context invites judgment. Judgment leads to hesitation.
After a moment, she continued quieter.
I don't weigh it. I don't justify it. I execute.
Her mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile.
It's cleaner that way. It makes the guilt manageable.
The house they pulled up to looked like dozens Evan had passed without remembering. Suburban, orderly, unremarkable in a way that felt deliberate. Porch light on, curtains drawn. Nothing about it suggested it was about to become anything else. Marla unbuckled.
You stay close,
she said.
I'll call you if I need you.
She moved into the shadows on the side of the house and disappeared inside. Time stretched. When she called him in, it wasn't panic, it was precision. Something hadn't aligned. The space didn't tell the right story on its own. Evan followed her steps. He moved into the shadows along the side of the house and saw the screen door wedged open just an inch. Marla's voice carried softly from deeper in the house.
Evan.
He stood at the threshold, fingers hovering inches from the door handle, close enough to feel the cold metal radiating into the air. For a moment he stayed there, suspended, his hand outstretched, the decision still technically unmade. Then he lowered it. Evan slid his hand into the pocket of his coat and pulled out the leather gloves he'd taken from one of the cases before loading them into the trunk. Supple, new, still smelling faintly of oil and something medicinal. He tugged them on slowly, working each finger into place, sealing himself off from the room before stepping inside. The floor creaked once beneath his weight. He didn't go straight to her. Instead, he moved through the house the way he moved through a car after a long shift, methodical, corrective. The house was clean, lived in, ordinary in a way that felt rehearsed. The furniture sat too evenly, the walls too bare of accidents. Whatever had happened here, or was supposed to have happened here, refused to explain itself on its own. A lamp tilted slightly on an end table was turned until its shade faced forward again. A rug in the hallway that had been folded in on itself at the corner was smoothed and squared, its edge aligned with the baseboard. Small things, quiet things. Adjustments that Evan knew made the space less noticeable. Only then did he follow Marla's voice. She stood in the living room, hair slipping loosely from her ponytail, breathing a little heavier than before. She huffed and blew the strands out of her eyes, irritation sharp beneath her control.
This dude was at least 60 pounds skinnier in the photo they sent me.
She seethed.
I don't know what they're doing with their files, but it's starting to feel personal.
The man sat slumped in a chair facing the television, his body awkward but compliant. They shifted him together without ceremony, adjusting his weight, settling him deeper into the cushions until he looked less like a problem and more like a presence. Someone paused mid-evening. Marla crossed the kitchen and returned with a plastic dinner tray, one of those compartmentalized microwave meals, the film peeled halfway back. She placed it carefully on his lap, aligned the fork beside it, then nudged the tray closer to his chest.
Dinner and a show,
she said dryly.
Very on brand.
Evan stepped back, scanning the room now that it had begun to cooperate. That was when he noticed them. On a low shelf beneath the television sat a pair of ceramic cats, tails intertwined, their glass bodies clinging together at the hip. They were bright blue and unapologetically ugly, the glaze uneven, the expressions vaguely judgmental. He picked them up, shifting the others into the empty spot. Marla turned, catching the motions immediately.
No trophies.
He held it up between them. It's not a trophy. Her brow arched. It's a knick-knack, he said. For your apartment. He crossed the room, pressed one of the cats into her hand. Housewarming gift. And then he dropped its twin into his own pocket. She stared at it for a second, then at him.
You're reckless,
she said. Evan glanced around the room, the corrected angles, the staged normalcy, the carefully constructed lie they were leaving behind. What's the point of all this order? He asked. If we can't be a little reckless. For a moment she looked like she might argue. Instead, she exhaled and turned the ceramic cat over in her palm, studying the absurdity of it. Then, without comment, she slipped it into her jacket pocket. The ride afterward was simple, efficient. He had cranked the heat into the car, and Marla held her fingers close to the back seat vents.
We really need to get you a car with seat warmers.
Do they give new cars out? Evan asked, his eyebrows raising.
We'll see. Santa might bring you a new ride.
She laughed, genuinely laughed. He smiled himself as he caught her eyes in the mirror.
Oh gosh, I almost forgot.
She pulled her phone out and tapped on it for a few moments. She nestled back into her seat and rested her head back onto the headrest, closing her eyes. The app chimed.
Ride complete. Tip added. $1,500. Rating 5 stars. Comment professional. Calm. Exactly what we need.
His heart was thudding in his chest. He'd never even had that much in his bank account. He could see her in the mirror, thumb resting absently against the pocket where she'd put her half of the figurine.
Do one more ride,
she said.
Then go home. Good work today. Get some rest.
One more ride? He asked.
I don't like being the last one on the books,
she explained.
There needs to be a mix. Keeps things organic.
She smirked.
And please, use that tip for new furniture. Or buy matches and just let it all go.
Evan snorted before he could stop himself. He had opened the car door for her when they had gotten back to the drop. She had been asleep and hadn't realized they had arrived. Helping her out, he waited at his car door until he heard the now familiar clacking of the gate closing. Not being able to help himself, He even waited until he watched her disappear over the hill to the utility building. Only then did he slide back into his car. Evan waited until he pulled away before reaching into his pocket, fingers brushing against ceramic. The blue cat was warm from his body heat now. He turned it once in his hand, then tucked it back into his coat. He completed his bonus ride quickly, which had turned out to be a couple he had known from high school. Normally, he would have rolled his eyes and kept quiet. The rush of the night had him rather talkative, and even asked what they had wanted to listen to on the way home. It brought him in a nice $20 tip and a, "Good to see you, Evan." There was still enough adrenaline in his system to keep him going for a little while. The gas station lights cut through the dark like a familiar harbor. As he pulled into the lot, he saw Derek's obnoxious yellow Jeep sitting in the parking lot. He may even splurge and order Chinese food. To complete the night, Evan switched his phone to vibrate. Going offline never felt better. Inside, Derek was behind the counter, sleeves rolled up, restocking a display that never stayed full. He looked up and grinned. "Look at you," Derek said, glancing up from behind the counter. "Haven't seen you in a minute. App behaving itself?" Evan grabbed a bottle of water, a pack of peanuts, and a granola bar. Routine, normalcy. The shape of his old life still fit in his hands. "Sure is," he said with a smile. "Must have just been a glitch." Derek snorted. "Yeah, they always say that." They talked for a minute. Nothing important. Traffic, a busted cooler, a guy who'd tried to steal scratch-offs and tripped over the doormat on his way out. Evan laughed at the right places, felt almost normal doing it. Then Derek's eyes drifted past him. "Hey," he said slowly. "You know that guy?" Evan turned. Through the front windows, a man paced around his car, circling it like he was trying to memorize it. He stopped at the driver's side door, leaned down to peer inside, then straightened quickly when he realized he'd been seen. "No," Evan said, though his stomach had already tightened. The doors hissed as the man came in, holding his phone up, not pointed at the ceiling or the floor, but directly at Evan's face. "Yeah," the man said breathlessly. "It's you. I knew it." Derek stiffened. "Sir, you need to put that away." "You remember me?" the man asked, ignoring him. "You picked me up a while back. Condo complex." Evan's mind flicked backward, searching faces, rides, fragments. There had been dozens, more than dozens. I don't... "You took me to that stupid suburban neighborhood," the man pressed. "You didn't ask questions. You didn't talk." His voice cracked. "You did everything right." Derek stepped closer. "Buddy?" Evan raised his palm slightly, not toward the man, toward Derek. "Wait." Evan met the man's eyes. That's when it hit him. It was a Tuesday night. The man had climbed into the back seat. He wore a pressed, button-down shirt, sleeves rolled neatly to the forearms. The smell of aftershave and something else. Clean metal, maybe? "I finally made a decision," he said. "I'm going to kill my ex-wife." "Yeah, I remember now." He gave him a slight nod and lowered his hand. "After you dropped me off, after I did what I went there to do, that's when they found me. That's when they invited me to join their little club or cult or whatever the hell it is. Then they kicked me out," the man said softly. "One mistake. That's all it took." His laugh sharp and broken. "Do you know what happens when they cut you loose? No calls, no explanations, just nothing. It's worse than being taken to the graveyard." He shoved the phone closer. "I spent everything, every dollar I made. They won't take me back. Then I'll just have to take them out." And then I saw you pick her up, the man said. I followed you. I found the fence. His eyes shone something desperate and unhinged. They won't answer me anymore, but they'll have to answer to this. Evan felt cold settle behind his ribs. He was talking about Marla. You need to leave, Derek said firmly, one hand inching toward the counter. Evan turned back to the man. You want answers? He asked quietly. This isn't the place. The man's breathing hitched. You'll talk to me? Outside, Evan said. Not on camera, away from the store. The man glanced at Derek, then back at Evan. Slowly, he lowered his phone. Fine, he said. But you don't walk away. Evan headed for the door first and felt the man following him close behind. The night swallowed them as soon as it shut behind them. You didn't go in the first time you went to the drop. Evan opened his mouth to answer, then stopped. But then there was her. You went with her. Evan's blood turned cold. The man stepped closer, angling his body not toward Evan's car, but toward the shadowed side of the building where the dumpster sat, half hidden from the streetlights. Not your car, the man said quickly, reading the flicker of Evan's eyes. Don't even think about it. His mouth twitched. I know what's in there. Evan hesitated. Come on, the man urged, already walking. This way. The alley smelled like burnt rubber and old grease. The hum of the gas station faded a bit, replaced by the distant rush of traffic and the low thrum of something industrial nearby. The man stopped beside a dark sedan Evan hadn't even noticed before, its engine already running. He opened the rear door and motioned with the phone, the camera's red light blinking steadily. Get in! Evan shook his head. Listen, man, I don't know what it is you think I can give you. I drive people around. That's it. The man shoved the phone closer, the lens inches from Evan's face. They won't give me my money, he said, voice tight and fevered. So I'll take something better. Evan's pulse hammered. You're not thinking straight. I'm thinking perfectly, the man snapped. I'm going to get proof of the drop of everything. And when I do, I'll take them down. All of them. His smile cracked sharp and unsteady. You just happen to be the fastest way to get back in. He grabbed Evan's arm and yanked. Evan resisted, twisting away, boots scraping against the pavement. Hey, stop! He heard the tinkle of glass on the pavement. The man struck him, fast and clumsy, but hard enough to make his vision spark. Evan stumbled, lost his footing, and the man seized the moment, shoving him into the back seat. The door slammed. The lock snapped down. Through the window, Evan saw Derek burst out of the gas station, shouting, waving his arms as the sedan screeched away from the curb, tires screaming in protest.
This ride has ended. Please remember to hit the bell to be notified of our next episode. If you enjoyed tonight's ride, bring a friend next time. Have them like, subscribe, and drop your username in the comments so we know who sent them. For a limited time, we'll send you a KillerPrompt sticker as a thank you for spreading the horror. Until next time, ride complete, tip added. We'll see you at the next chime of the app.